It will just take a few minutes for all the participants to come in, and then we'll get going. So we have welcome everybody. We have about 200 people signed up for the webinar today. I'm sure not everyone will be able to join us, but we'll just give them time to log on. And also this is being recorded as well, so people who registered will be able to watch in their own time if they don't get a chance to join us at this very moment in time. So let's see how we go. We're almost at 100 already. That's a good start. Good. Right. So I will kick off. Good morning, everyone. Or it's just this afternoon in the UK. So welcome to this Cuppa Club. This is an opportunity when we get together with our businesses that we work with, and some of the founders, and find out a bit more about the business, give you potential investors the opportunity to ask direct questions, get a feel for the organizations behind the web pages and the investment memorandums, which is the hard business details that we list on the website. So just a bit of housekeeping. We will run the session for about 45 minutes. My name's Lisa Ashford, by the way. I'm director of Ethex and Energise Africa. And I'm joined today by two of the founders of Altech, and also from Daniel from Energise Africa, who's our financial director, CFO, sorry. And I'll just ask you all to make a quick introduction just so that everybody knows who's on the line today very shortly. And also just to say, we can't give out any specific advice today. This isn't a particular financial promotion for a investment product. It is just an information gathering exercise. We can't answer questions on your own specific financial circumstances. You will need to see a financial advisor if you have detailed questions on that. We will provide some information after the webinar as well. So if you need to look up some more information, we're very happy to do so. So without further ado, in this order, perhaps you could just give us a quick intro to who you are. Let's go Washikala, Iongwa, and then Daniel.
Hello, everyone. My name is Malango Washikala. I am one of the co-founders of Altech group. And yeah, we have been operating the DRC since 2013. And we have big goals for the DRC and Altech as a whole. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Iongwa Mashangao, the co-founder of Altech Group. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Daniel van Manen. I'm CFO of Energise Africa and Lenderhand in the Netherlands, and I'm also part of the investments team.
Perfect. Thank you, everyone. So to kick off, I'd really like to just get a feel for how Altech came about, and I think you both have quite an interesting story to tell. So if you could just take us through how the company was founded and how you got to know each other as founders to start with, that would be great.
Okay, thank you so much. Yeah, as you said, Iongwa and I have a long history and a long story too. So we were all born in Eastern DRC in a small village called Baraka. As you might know, in the 1990s, there was a war that broke out in Eastern Congo and actually the whole of Congo. And so we were forced to flee to Tanzania for safety in the 1990s. So we went to Tanzania and, stayed there for over a decade. And while in a refugee camp in Western Tanzania, So we got a scholarship from UNHCR that took us to the University of Dar es Salaam. So yeah, so Iongwa and I, we knew each other when we were still in our village back in the DRC, and then we fled together to Tanzania, and we stayed in the same camp, refugee camp. And then yeah, and again we got the scholarship the same here. We went to the University of Dar es Salaam. And it was during our studies at the university that we started engaging in discussions about the DRC, but specifically about the situation of energy poverty in the country. And I remember that at that time we were taking a course on environment and development, and that made us, go through, energy poverty in different African countries. And then it was during those discussions that really we decided that we will go back home after our studies and start a company in this sector. And again, our decision was also influenced by also partly by also our experiences growing up in off-grid villages. We were born in off-grid communities. We had to use kerosene lamps for lighting and for all, for studying at night. So all these experiences contributed to our decision to go back to the DRC and start Altech. So and again, when we were having this discussion, we said, okay, let's go home. So in 2010, we decided to come back to come to the DRC. Actually, it was in early 2011. And Iongwa brought some lamp samples of solar lamps that were manufactured by Delight, and then he was actually selling those lamps to different customers in our village. And as that after that, we said, okay, how do we make sure that we do this, we pilot this, so that we can try to distribute this to as many rural households as possible. So we decided to bring 3,000 units of solar lamps in Eastern Congo, in Baraka, in our village, where the idea when we started was for us to sell these products upfront to rural households. But if you realize that this upfront model couldn't work because we were dealing with some of the poorest households in the world, so we had to and we were calling them now like you were doing pay as you go without technology. And when we decided to do that, and we said, okay, what types of customers will we target as we begin? So we decided to target teachers and health workers. So we started creating partnership with schools and the health centers, and through those partnerships, selling product to teachers and health workers on credit. And so yeah, definitely we did that, and there were challenges definitely, but again, we realized that that was a mode that could be scaled across the DRC, and then we started scaling it. And yeah, we opened different outlets across the DRC, and up to now. So this is like the start and how we started Altech.
Great. And maybe just hold your mic a little bit further away, actually. Let's see how that is now. Okay. So I think it's really interesting that you partnered with the schools and the health centers to get going. That's really interesting. And perhaps you could just mention as well, in terms of electrification rates in DRC itself, because I think that is particularly low, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, the DRC has one of the lowest electrification rate in the world. we have a population of about 85 million people, and currently we are talking about only 15% of those people have access to electricity. So yeah, over 85% do not have access. So that's the situation, electrification situation in the DRC at the moment. So
Yes.
it's very low. It's yeah, definitely one of the lowest in the world.
Yeah. Okay, we're going to have to find a slightly middle ground with your mic, Washikala, just so slightly closer, but not too close. But we'll do our best anyway. So 15% you're saying in terms of electrification rates for DRC, which is extremely low. And Iongwa, how did you think about scaling the business beyond those people that you were targeting within the teachers and the health workers? How did you then take it to the next level?
Yeah, thank you very much for the question. So as Washikala has greatly introduced, actually Washikala and me, both of us were born and raised in poor off-grid household, as he has clearly explained. And really, as we started with school teachers and the health workers, but also we were conscious that dozens of millions of people in the DRC and worth enough in the rural areas where most of people are based, there is like almost lack of access, complete lack of access to electricity. And if people may say in some of the urban emerging, cities, we talk about less than 1%. So we were really like shocked by this fact, realizing that we still have millions of people or kids who have not yet seen any bulb lighting in the household. And then we said, instead of focusing just on school teachers and health workers, actually making just a thin fraction of the population, the idea was to go to the millions of, off-grid people. And that's where really we started thinking about the manual pay-as-you-go, and from the model of the monthly credit basis model, where teachers were paying and school health workers were paying on a monthly basis. We decided to start like collecting cash, like $0.5 on daily basis to off-grid household in cities and even in big cities. And what is interesting is that we had like this passion saying that it wasn't only the problem of our, Baraka off-grid city, but it was the problem, as we were also reviewing literature, it was the problem of the entire country, the whole DRC. And that really brought our intrinsic motivation, like to start. What is interesting to say today is that from our off-grid village of Baraka in the eastern part of the DRC, we are now established in more than 20 provinces, almost 22 provinces out of the country, out of the 26. And starting Washikala and me, we have so far developed the distribution network of more than 1,200 people, solar agents or solar ambassadors, sales agents who are, sensitizing, identifying, what I say, evangelizing really the benefit of modern energy solutions versus to traditional toxic and expensive sources of energies that households have been using for decades. And we have been able to distribute like starting with like 50 pieces of solar lanterns. It's also interesting to say that we have so far distributed more than 210,000 solar products, and there are thousands of clean cuckoo stoves to off-grid people. So that's how really, we were like motivated to do, and we are really passionate to increase even more.
And in terms of the types of products that you sell on a pay-as-you-go basis, do you focus on a particular size of model or scale?
Yeah, that's a great question. First of all, as I've said, being born and raised in this poor off-grid household, we do understand better the purchasing power of this household than anybody else in the country. So basically what we do, we look at the household, poor household using kerosene lamps, using candles, and we see these people, the family size of these people is about 5. Already these people cannot be able to afford any like modern energy solutions, of high price. So what we do basically, we bring like a solar lantern with two values, lighting and cell phone charging. And just with this, solar lantern with like a micro solar panel of 2.4 watts, already we established a pay plan of 54 days. And we use the amount of money these people have been using to pay for kerosene, also for candles, and then explain to them the advantages they are going to get. For example, the savings they are going to get out of using our proposed modern energy solutions. And when these people understand, they are convinced, now they start paying. Finally, they realize that they're getting a lot of benefit out of using our proposed modern energy solutions versus to the traditional toxic and expensive sources that have been using. We go beyond the economies they are making. We tell them the kind of these disastrous consequences. For example, if you are using these candles, they happen to do like catastrophic issues in the household, burning even kids, causing a lot of disasters, but also diseases. So we explain all of these, they understand the benefit, then they start using. So we do consider really the purchasing power, and this is basically in the rural areas. But in the urban centers where we have people really, these are people, some of them are connected to the grid, but the grid itself is not like for decades or so, not being maintained properly. And there are people are suffering from power blackout, of a number of hours, days, even weeks, even months. This is the reality in the DRC. So these people, they are like interested in more values. Instead of like a lighting, like one bulb or cell phone charging, they are asking for more values with like 4 bulbs, fixed bulbs. They are also asking for other appliances like televisions, air clippers. They are asking really a number of values. So for this, we also say, even if they are asking, they are interested, it's due to the need. But still, the purchasing power is questionable, it's still very low. Again, we design the pay plans adapted to their purchasing power. And here we start like an entry solar home system with a solar panel of 12 watts already with 4 bulbs and a small torch. We design a pay plan of 24 months where customers will just give the account the down payment of $20 and pay $10 per month for 24 months. And also for those households requesting for televisions, we place the solar home systems for the pay plans of starting with 12 months up to 35 months, so that these people are able to get access to these solutions and pay properly. So really what we are trying to do is the experience of being born and being raised in this poor off-grid household, but also having the deep understanding of how things are going, with the level of poverty, with the family size. So we combine a number of dimensions to make sure we do affordable pay plans to make sure people get access to modern energy solutions in their household.
Right. I think for those people who are new to this sector, they might not understand or know about the rise of pay-as-you-go solar in terms of that model being used throughout Africa and other regions to make this type of product much more affordable for individuals and families, etc. So it sounds as if you tailor the specific pay plan dependent on the demands of individual families, or the size of the family, what they can afford, but still in a robust way. Is that a fair summary?
Yeah, exactly. That's what we are. Yeah, that's a great summary, of course. So we are considering the fact that people have a lot of people around them. If the family size is high, already more than 5 kids. Yeah, so like the average in the DRC, we do consider 5, up even to 7. And these people already, considering the economic conditions in which they are living, even if we bring to them high quality solutions, it's still very challenging for them to get, to afford. So we try to design affordable pay plans to enable them to get access to modern energy solutions. We do also consider that they are spending a lot of money to these toxic traditional toxic and expensive sources. Because in the DRC today, we had this report of Lighting Africa, assuming that there are poor off-grid households in the DRC just for lighting, are spending more than $1 billion a year. And that's really, it's a lot of money. So the solutions we are proposing to them, they are, not only targeting to enable them to get reliable, but also safe, modern energy solutions, but also to save money and to save lives, to improve their living conditions and health status.
So in terms of how the organization is structured now, you've obviously got the two of you who are extremely passionate founders, born and bred in the DRC. How do you take that to the next level? So I'm sure the people listening would like to know about how the organization is structured now and about the governance a little bit of the organization. If you could just talk to us, either one of you, about how you've gone on to build the company for growth, that would be good.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you. We have, as we started very small, Iongwa and I, definitely. And so again, we have been able to grow the company to scale it across the DRC. And through that process, we have also managed to grow the team, but also the IT infrastructure that is needed to support that growth.
Right.
So at the moment, for instance, when it comes to the team structure, we have definitely a board of directors that is, is composed of Iongwa and I, but also some of our investors. Definitely that board is also ready to grow with new people coming in and new investors coming in. And again, Iongwa and I are still very much involved because, as you said, correctly said, we are very passionate about what we do. We love what we do. So, we co-manage. So Iongwa is involved in compliance aspects of the business, while I am involved more in the distribution aspect of the business. But also we have a team we have what we call H team, which is composed of different heads of departments. At the moment, we have almost 8 departments, but also because Congo is large, we cannot control everything, supervise everything from our head of department. So we have also decided to build middle level teams that we call zonal teams, because we decided to divide DRC into 6 distribution zones, and each zone has its zonal team that is supervises or manages activities in that particular zone. And then at the outlet level, we also have a team that is supervised by our sales, we call sales manager. And the sales manager supervise around 4 to 5 people. So so this is how we have been able to grow the team, but also on the IT infrastructure. On the IT infrastructure aspect, when we decided, we partnered with Angaza, that has been providing us with technology, pay-as-you-go technology, especially when it comes to solar lamps. But as far as solar home systems are concerned, we have decided, in partnership with our partner Enabled or Digital, decided to build our own IT infrastructure for a solar home system. That's what we are using now for solar home systems. But for solar lamp, we are still using the Angaza platform. And our IT infrastructure also has been growing. We started, when we started, it was only composed of CRM and some, a few applications, but customer facing or sales agent facing applications. But again, we are adding more based on our demands and the needs of the business. All of this has been possible thanks to the strategic partnership that we have created, both with the IT providers the product suppliers, such as Omnivoltaic and Rurospark. And those partnership, and now lend a hand, Ethex. So it is those types of also strategic partnership that you have been able to create that have also enabled us to grow as we did. Yeah.
Right. Great. Well, it's a perfect time to bring in Daniel into the conversation as well. So perhaps, Daniel, you've been waiting patiently. Could you give us an overview of the investment process? So what do the organizations need to do to be approved to raise funds on the Energise Africa platform?
Yeah, sure. So this is quite an elaborate process, as I'm sure Ilongwa and Washikala can confirm. We do not take this lightly, because in the end of the day, we are asking investors, retail investors in the UK, to start investing in a business that they've never heard of, in a country far away. Without having the chance, obviously, to know the company very well and to do research themselves. So we want to do that research for them, really. And in that sense, I think you can compare our investment process with how it is done at banks or investment firms. So once we get into contact with a potential company, for example, in the DRC, and this contact can be because people find us because they've heard about us being a lender in those markets, or we meet them on certain industry events, or we learn about them from other financial players in that market. We get in touch and we ask them to basically complete a request for information. So we ask them about the background of the company, and we ask them to send us all sorts of materials, including business plans, a financial model, audited financial statements. So once we have that first set of documents, we compare what we see with what we call our minimal eligibility criteria. Businesses on our platform do have to have a certain track record, they have to have a certain revenue level, a certain level of profitability. There are certain financial requirements, if you like, but also on the impact. And we are an impact investor, so we want to make sure that the businesses that we allow to raise on the Energise Africa platform are impactful businesses. So after that first analysis, we give an internal go, no-go decision. And if it's a go, then we have an internal deal team, project team, that would analyze all of those documents that we've received in further detail, and that would set up reference calls. So we would have multiple calls with the management team. Prior to the pandemic, we would visit the local company and the management team and spend a few days together. Unfortunately, that's something we cannot do right now, but we try to replicate that or replace that with Zoom calls and with interviews with people in the organization. We don't only speak to people within the organization, but we also try to get a little bit of an outside view. For example, by speaking to existing lenders that the business may have. Sometimes we try to speak to customers and to understand their perspective and why they chose for a particular business and what their experience is with the service and so on. So once we have analyzed all that information, we've had all those conversations, and then the deal team summarizes that in something like a 10-page investment memorandum. And by that time, we will have a good understanding of the creditworthiness of the company, the amount of debt that we believe they can bear. We also start to get a feeling for what the cost of that debt should be, i.e. what the interest rate to the crowd should be. And then we have a second internal round by which one or two reviewers analyze that investment proposal and have a Q&A session with the deal team. So from there, a couple of, let's say, questions arise. So the deal team, the project team would go back to the company, try to answer those last questions. And then when the investment paper is ready, we submit it to an external credit committee. So this is a group of currently 4 people, all very seasoned impact investors that work for banks, for funds that have done and seen many of these investments in the emerging markets where our investments typically take place. And that is ultimately the body that needs to approve each deal that we want to bring to our platform. Assuming we get approval, which obviously in the case of Altech we did, we then finalize the contractual negotiations with the company. We line everything up, let's say on the back end, and then when everything is ready and approved and signed off, we can launch the very first campaign, and investors can start to sign up.
Perfect, thank you. And as many people know, that the way that we structure that product is via a bond, which is listed on the platform. And the bond tends to be generally, so the bond is a debt product, and the crowd is effectively providing that money, which is then used for working capital for the organizations to grow the business. And that is done over typically a 24 to 36 month period, and is paid back on a 6 monthly basis with capital and interest. The terms of which can vary slightly depending on the organization that we're working with at any point, and their needs and the needs of the credit committee as well. So as you can see, it's quite a thorough process that the organizations have to go through. And congratulations to Altech for making it through. And we're obviously well on our way to raising finance for the first bond, which is great. And what specifically, is there a particular impact or growth area that you could talk to us about that the investors' funds will be used for?
Yeah, could you repeat the question, please?
You want me to repeat the question?
Yeah, could you please repeat the question?
Yes.
That
Yes.
was it.
That's okay. Is there a specific region or a specific program in terms of the growth and working capital that will be raised through this bond that it will be used for?
Yeah, if I got the question well, so in terms of regions, as Iongwa said, and the idea, the reason why we are raising now is, first of all, definitely to strengthen our positions in outlets that we are already operating, but also expand it so that we can reach all these other provinces, the 5 provinces that are still out there that we haven't reached. So definitely that's it. As you know, that we will use the funds to procure about 3,000 solar home systems, and these will be again sold across our outlets across the DRC.
Okay, great, thank you.
And maybe in addition to what Washikala said, we have this ambitious goal. Would like to distribute 1 million modern energy products by 2025 to create impact for 5 million people, and in the process create 5,000 jobs. So, and as you really understood when I was explaining about the purchasing power of most of our customers, specifically in the rural areas, you realize that as we are designing these pay plans, affordable pay plans, to try to adapt their purchasing power, the serious challenge is like the inventory financing. By the time you distribute products, and then you wait until the manufacturer gets other product to the field. We are losing a lot of customers. We are also losing a lot of time. So that's where really we are in need of inventory capital so that we have product available at any time our customers are in need of product. Because we are leading in terms of marketing these solutions in the DRC, we are really the leading company. And I've clearly explained, we are the only company that's living with the customers, that has a deep understanding of the customers' needs and the purchasing power than anybody else in the country. So the issue is about the inventory financing. We are losing a lot when we don't have product. It takes like 3, 4, and due to coronavirus, even 6 months without having product. And this kind of is a threat for us to, to lose our marketing position.
And what about the context? I'm going to start pulling in some of the questions that are coming in from the audience now. So bear with me while I fire those to you individually. What about the overall picture for DRC itself? How does the distributed solar model fit into the energy policy and environment for electrification of the country?
Yeah, that's a great question. Really, frankly speaking, there are a lot of improvements so far in the DRC as far as the energy policy is concerned. First of all, in 2014, the government of the Democratic Republic of Congo, due to the understanding that the centralization policy could not enable people to get access to electricity in the entire country, you will agree with me that the DRC is such a continental country, and having the assumption that moving, like for example, power from Inga in Matadi here to the eastern part of the DRC has been very difficult. And the reality is that there is nobody in the world will be like bringing trillions of US dollars in the Congo to improve this sector. So thanks to this understanding, the government has liberalized the sector. So far, it's allowed for independent producers to produce electricity in the country, independent distributors or companies to distribute products using their business models. So this is really has facilitated so many, operators or even companies to come in the market today. So that's happening. And in addition to that, for example, very recently, the newly elected president has also understood that we have to support the rural and peri-urban electrification. He has himself contributed almost $5 million to the support of the rural peri-urban and the rural electrification, project with subsidies to these people. So there are lots happening here. We have also created an association bringing together companies in the sector in order to advocate for the right to share the challenges on the ground and also help the government to design the proper and the appropriate policy to enable people to get access to modern energy solutions. So there are a lot of things. So far we are, working with the government authorities. They are now sharing, like the common understanding we have so that to enable millions of people to get access to electricity. And there is this goal of the government to increase 30% of access to electricity by 2024 or 2025. So we are working in the same line to make sure we contribute significantly to attain this goal of the government.
Right.
So many things are happening. That's why we also have tax exemptions, in the sector, and we are beneficiary. Altech Group has been beneficiary for a number of these tax exemptions to make sure, we get products much more affordable to enable more people to get access to these solutions.
Yeah, great. Thank you very much. So I'm just going to run through some of these questions and try and be quite speedy about them now. So short answers, please. So question to me, first of all, there's a question around, are all of our bonds eligible for the Innovative Finance ISA? And the question is, yes, on Energise Africa, they all qualify. Which means that obviously dependent on your own financial and tax circumstances, you can potentially receive the interest tax-free if it's within a ISA wrapper. Question, is it public information who the institutional investors are on your board?
Yeah, definitely. I think even if you go through our website, you will find there are some of our investors. So currently, we have been working with Persistence Energy Capital. That is one of investors, well-known investors in the Africa's energy sector. To be honest, they have a huge experience in this sector, and they have a lot of companies. And also La Difference, that is an accelerator that has been working for supporting startups in Eastern DRC. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Do you have many competitors in the sector in DRC?
Yeah, definitely. Because the Congo, like the DRC market is not the one that the same it was in 5 years ago. It has changed. He has been attracting a lot of interest now, and yeah, definitely there are competitors, both local competitors, but also international competitors. But again, I think it's a good thing. That will definitely benefit at the end of the day the end users.
Yeah, I mean, I think from the perspective of the the policy objectives of the government, which are obviously, to reach 30% access by 2025, that's, you've got definitely to set the foot on the accelerator. So, you need multiple peers to deliver on that, which, I'm sure is a good thing, because it means that the market's maturing as well. So in terms of the solar home system itself, could you just describe what is in that? And also, could you just say whether it's starting to change as the demand changes from individuals?
Yeah, definitely. So, yeah, so we have different types of solar products. If you start what we call solar lamps, just a kit that, it has a panel, battery, and one bulb, and basically it gives two services, essential services: lighting and phone charging. And then we have what we call lighting solar home system, which in comparison to the solar lamp, it has multiple bulbs, but also it has a torch and a portable lamp. So the solar lamp usually only has one bulb, while lighting solar home system here it mostly has 3 or 4 bulbs, and also radio and a portable torch. And then we also have solar home system that are a little bit larger than the lighting solar home system, in that they come with appliances such as TV, air clipper, and even a fan. So these are the 3 different types of product that we are currently distributing. And we have also piloted some bigger solar home system, but again, those are still in the pilot stage. What we are currently distributing at a scale are those 3 types of solar products.
Great, thank you. I wanted to come back.
And maybe in addition to what Washikala said, we also have improved Kuku stores, commonly known as the Cocoa, and we have also designed an application bien to enable people, poor households, to get access to these improved Kuku stores as well. Thank you.
Great. Actually, while we're on the subject, there is a question on where the kits are manufactured. Now, I'm going to assume that that's China, but you can tell me if that is not the case.
Yeah. So definitely we do have currently we're working with 2 partner suppliers. That is Omnivoltaic and Rurospark. Rurospark, it is a Netherlands-based company, and Omnivoltaic is very known, but definitely, as you say, you correctly said, they all manufacture in China.
Coming back to the question on jobs, you mentioned, Iongwa, that you were looking to create 5,000 jobs. do you have any specific targets in terms of employing women, and are there any specific training programs that you implement to help people get employment?
Yeah, thank you for this great question. Yes, as I was saying, starting Washikala and me, so far we have this great distribution network composed of solar ambassadors, and of these we have female and male solar ambassadors. So the idea is really to do like 50-50, that's the idea. And so far we are almost targeting 30% of female out of our, our teams. So we are seriously, even in the top level management teams, we are getting really, we are recruiting also females. So it's one of really of our strategic area, as we do consider that when you are getting, female involved in the social entrepreneurship, yeah, there's this possibility of creating a lot of impact. And so we are also, because in the process, and the other aspect that probably Washikala didn't talk about while introducing when we started, when we decided to come back to the DRC, the idea was really to contribute to the post-conflict reconstruction process. And in addition to the introduction of solar solutions to the household, we were also training the youth in schools, primary and secondary schools, on the general enterprising tendencies free of charge. And the idea was to inculcate the, the entrepreneurship skills to the youth. So most of our solar ambassadors, they are being paid on commissions. And these people really, they are trained on the base of pyramid focused business model, but also they are being trained on technologies, emerging technologies in the solar pay-as-you-go business. And yeah, there are a lot of happening really on all these apps. We are also developing these apps, the sales apps, installation apps, and even for the LMT app and gas app for the cash collection and the improvement of operations. So they are really being trained for them to be able, to effectively, implement their responsibilities on a daily basis. So the idea that we are really, as we are, our intrinsic motivation is to establish solar ambassadors in all the villages of the DRC and in all the 26 provinces, to make sure that we don't have kids who cannot see lighting bulb in their household in the 21st century. So it's like, very ambitious, but really we are passionate and determined toward that vision, big vision.
Yeah.
It's about, promoting, energy, modern energy access for all in the DRC.
Yes, thank you. I've got a follow-on question, but just to say we've got lots of questions still coming in, so I'm just going to carry on if that's okay with everyone. Well, we won't go over the hour, but I'll just keep firing questions if that's okay with you both.
No problem.
So a follow-on question really is about the maintenance of the systems. So are the staff trained to maintain the systems? Do you replace them if they are broken? Perhaps you could talk a little bit about how you view your customers. Presumably this is about building long-term partnerships, and that's very much what we see in the solar space.
Yeah, that's a very good question. Yeah, definitely we provide after sales. We provide first of all warranties to our customers, both repair and the replacement warranty. For replacement warranty, we offer 2 years, and for repair warranty, we offer for the whole of product lifetime. And we are building really the capacity internally to offer those services, because one of the promises, some of the promises that we make to our customers is that, they will definitely get fast after sales services, and also they will have few issues with their product while using it, and definitely, long product lifetime. Those are the promises that we give to our customers when we approach them, and we make sure that we deliver on those promises. So, for instance, by making sure we have, extra capacity for the batteries, so that they cannot, die as quick as possible, but also making sure, as I said, we are building a capacity internally of installer technicians and installers who can provide those services whenever that we have issues. We have issues with any customer has issues with their product. And even, you know, one of the things that we are also putting in place is having a backup system, a backup approach. Whenever a customer has a product issue, we don't just go and pick up the product and come with it and repair and the customer wait. So we give them a backup product first so that they can continue using their, having the services, and then we repair it and then we return it. So all these are put in place, you know, so that the customer can really enjoy their product for a long period.
Yes, thank you. And in terms of challenges that you might have in terms of any solar systems being stolen, or in terms of non-payment, how do you deal with that?
Yeah, so yeah, that's definitely, those are issues that we definitely you have to really face in this business. And but again, we are building, as I said, we are building measures, to avoid that first of all, and then when that happens, to make sure that we can get our product back. But the most important element for us is to put in place measures that avoid it. For instance, we do conduct we do conduct a credit check. Credit check to that tells us, somehow, okay, it's challenging, but that gives us an idea whether the customer will be able to pay or not. But again, that we don't limit ourselves to the credit check. Then again, we visit the customer's house and also the neighborhood, so that we can understand what type of the customer we are dealing with. So we talk to neighbors, because if someone has a bad reputation in the street, you don't need to ask two people for them to tell us, don't sell to that person. He has got a reputation here of taking things like that, and they don't pay. So we also go back there and talk to we visit customers' house, but also talk to neighbors in order to get any information that might help us know our customer better. But also after that, we create a partnership with local official so that they know that we have sold the product in their neighborhood to this customer, and so that they can also be like our watch person there if something happens. So yeah, all of this, we are putting all these mechanisms in place in order definitely to avoid selling to the wrong customers, but also in order to avoid like losing product when we sell them, because definitely you understand, we give people pay for a long time, 2 years, 3 years. It's not easy. So we need really to put in place. If you don't put those measures in place, you end up having trouble in the long run.
Right.
So yeah. So, and again, when the customer doesn't pay, they have a grace period. But when they go beyond that grace period, we have no option but again to repossess the product. But again, we have put in place, because every company does the repossession. It's not a new thing. But we also said, can you do something to help the customer to be able to pay? So we are building internally capacity that enables our people, our staff, to work closely with customers that are struggling, so that they can even bring us more customers or other customers and use their commission to pay for their monthly payment. So
Yeah.
all of this is done to definitely avoid those kind of challenges and deal with them when they arise.
Yeah, great. So a really important point that has come up, which we do need to talk about, is risk. And obviously people are hearing you speak. You're obviously two passionate founders who've grown your business to how many employees so far? Sorry.
So yeah, at the moment we have about 300 full-time employees, and in terms of sales agents that are paid on commission, we have over 1,000.
Okay, so yeah, so 300 full-time employees and over 1,000 sales agents. But all investments are not without come with risk, and this is a product which represents risk through its return level. And I guess someone saying, well, isn't it too good to be true? And I think we have a responsibility as Ethex and Energise Africa to represent that investing in emerging economies is quite high risk, let's face it. And there are a number of externalities that are apparent in markets, as well as, with all companies, there are certain growing pains. So perhaps, Daniel, you could just talk to us a little bit about how we manage risk and how we continue to monitor the organizations as they grow and how we work with them on a long-term basis.
Yeah, sure. And yeah, it's obviously a very important question, and that's a large part of our due diligence process, to try to understand and assess the risk of a company that we would allow on the platform. And I think, as I also see the question, you're right. Altech is a fantastic company with a good balance sheet, with good margins, a strong network, very strong brand, a great management. So there's definitely many positives about the company, and that's why we absolutely loved it and wanted to work with them. At the same time, Altech does operate in the DRC, which is a complicated geography to work in. It has a history of political instability. It's a very dispersed country. It's still, unfortunately, one of the poorest countries on Earth. At the same time, the solar business as we know it, and obviously we have studied many solar companies and pay-go solar companies, is a great model, but also it's a business model which carries certain risk in it, because the sales are all done on a credit basis, right? The customers do not pay in cash, but they pay over time. And that means that also sometimes families will have to choose with limited resources what they can and what they cannot afford, which means that historically defaults are higher when you compare that to businesses which sell their services or products on a cash basis. So there's a number of reasons why indeed, certainly from let's say a UK perspective, these are high interest rates. I do think that the interest rate that we can offer to Altech are very much in line with the other lenders that Altech already has, and are competitive compared to the alternatives that any SME, small medium-sized company in Congo would have. What we do to monitor this, so we have a set of key ratios and what we call covenants that we ask the company to fill out on a quarterly basis, and that allows us to track the performance of the company. Some of those ratios, they have to be met, and if they're not met, then for example, we have the right to no longer allow them to raise new projects. Other metrics are just for us as an early warning sign, and then we would get into conversation with management and try to understand the situation and see if there's anything that we can do. And maybe finally, one of the things that we agree with our investment committee is that we do not immediately allow the maximum exposure level, but that we grow there over time. And again, the company has to show certain performance, has to show compliance with the information that we ask from them and so on. And if they show that compliance, then over time we allow them to raise more on the platform.
Thanks, Daniel. So I think I could probably carry on for another hour if we had an hour, because we have so much interest from everyone. So thank you to everyone who's listening for putting in so many questions. For those that we haven't addressed on the webinar today, we will try and write some general answers back as well and send those around. Thank you so much to our panelists for joining us today. Thank you very much, Washikala and Iongwa. It's been great to have you on the session, and thanks to Daniel as well. We really look forward to working with you on a long-term basis, and we wish you every success in the DRC. And I hope we'll have you back on another webinar soon, and we can answer all the rest of the many questions that will come in. Is there anything you'd like to say just to close up?
No, thank you so much for the team at Lend a Hand, Ethex, and for all the investors that are supporting Altech. I've decided to support Altech, as you said, definitely. Working in the DRC and the work that you are doing in the DRC is very important, but also risky somehow. But when people trust the work that we do, that gives also more motivation to do even bigger than what we've done. So thank you so much for everything.
Thank you very much for everything.
Great, thanks all. We will end it there and say thank you to everyone. Please do read more information on the website if you would like any more information, and perhaps some of your questions will also be answered there as well. Thank you everyone, and see you soon. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, Daniel. Bye, Lisa. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.